William Kevin was born in New York City on April 19th, 1928, into a family of poor Jewish immigrants. As an artist using photography, Kevin set out to reinvent the photographic world with his unique way of capturing his surroundings. His photos, often blurred or out of focus, and use of wide-angle lens shocked the photographic world that would result in a reputation of an anti-photographer's photographer. In 1954, Kelvin returned to New York City after spending time in Paris, France. Upon his return, he was offered an opportunity to work for Vogue magazine. However, Vogue found his photos to be crude, aggressive, and vulgar. In this first photo, entitled Gun Number One, was taken in 1928 in New York City. This photo shows the pistol overwhelming the frame, a stark contrast and with invasive wide-angle lens, creating a distinct, unmistakable style. You can see the face of the young gentleman with a very mean demeanor, and his younger brother looking at him with a very passive uh, face. Calvin focused mainly on the pistol, while both the childs were the background due to the fact that he was using a wide-angle lens technique. The focus of using blur motion also gives you on the pistol gives you that eerie feeling. Here is a more blurred image by Kelvin. This piece is entitled Dancing Girl in Brooklyn. The photo is grainy, blurry, out of focus, yet something which is still okay to see. However, during Kelvin's time, photographers would not accept this type of photo as it is too blurry. But Kelvin purposely blurred this photo out as he wanted to portray the girl with a beard. Kelvin had this idea that as long as he had a camera in his hand, and he saw anything that was very interesting, he would capture it in the moment and not just sit there and take a normal self-portrait of a person. This next piece is entitled The Candy Store and was taken roughly the same time period as Dancing in Brooklyn and Gun Number One. Kelvin uses the ironic approach in fashion, natural lighting, and motion blur, as well as the use of wide-angle lenses to captivate the viewer. In this photo, the use of Kelvin's motion blur allows the viewer to feel as though they are warped into this candy store, with this little boy giving off the illusion of space, as though you had miles and miles of the store to go through, but that's not the case. This photo, titled Subway and Blur, was taken in Tokyo in 1961. This is another example of blur motion by Kelvin. Kelvin said that blur is a part of photographers' own language, that there shouldn't be any edits made, and that he wanted to capture the busy streets of Tokyo during rush hour, as he recognizes that this is photography doing what only photography do, capturing motion. He didn't want to sit there and wait for people to stop. He wanted to capture them while they're walking. Here's an example of wide-angle lens technique by Kelvin. This piece is entitled Bikini Moscow. Kelvin photographed a young Russian girl. She was very excited that he wanted to take a photo of her, but that wasn't what Kelvin had an idea of. He used a wide lens purposely to capture her grandmother and grandfather in the back. This is a good example of a rule of thirds, as the subject feels like as though she's center of attention, but really Kelvin wanted to capture the Russian woman's grandmother and grandfather, both who had a very subtle and chilled out demeanor. This still, entitled Who Are You Polly Maggot, was taken in 1966, where Kelvin uses the wide lens technique once more. As you can see, all the models are wearing striped black and white shirts, as well as the background being black and white, which makes seem very confusing. However, Calvin's use of the light bulb as the center of our attention really gives you that contrast and allows you to look at the picture as a viewer and digest what you are seeing. He makes it very easy to understand the photo. This piece is entitled Paisa de Samgana, which was taken in Rome in 1960. During this phase, Klein was more into the fashion aspect. Before street style photography took over the fashion industry, or or it was even organized like a subgenre genre, William Kevin produced this image that captures the appeal of today's street style phenomena. Shot for Vogue in 1960, this photo is a true testament to how revolutionary Kevin's work was at that time. The unique angle makes us feel that we're warriors catching a glimpse of the passing intersection of the two unbelievably beautiful women in a stage scene that quick over the shoulder glance is a realistic, even, you know, weary, subtle yet powerful picture. This final piece is entitled Isabella Whiteface, an Opera, which was taken in 1962. The purpose of this photo was to be entered into Vogue magazine. Um, he poses his models in a group of mannequins crossing a busy street, but no focus is really on the models, but mainly the mannequins and the rule of thirds. Overall, William Kevin was a very creative photographer, especially during his time, with the use of motion blur, wide, camera lenses, angle. He was very, innovative. He didn't just follow everything by the norm. If he saw something, especially in motion, he would capture it. He felt like some a subject emotion, gives it more life. And when you're just sitting there and you take a still picture, it's taken away from the photo. I really enjoyed his work, and especially researching it and doing this presentation for you guys. Um, I hope you guys look into more of his work, as it is very interesting. Um, that is all. Thank you.